Five, four, three, two, one, go!
So it's night one of the Golden Globe 2022, and about 25 miles off this up the loch. That's the sort of thing you don't want creeping up on you in the middle of the night. On our trip around the world, we don't get to visit anywhere, but we do get to see some amazing headlands. Sunrise on the 9th of September on Clara. Another Galician cape rounded. And Cape Finisterre in the distance is just about the next one and last one in this series of roundings. Easy job in a nice stable sail loft on a flat floor. A little complicated on the boat that's rocking and rolling. All done. All we need now is some wind. That's Cape Finisterre, or Finiterre Terra. The end of land, the furthest point west in Spain, and therefore the furthest point west on mainland Europe. Today's day 8 of Golden Globe, so that makes it Monday, which is time for the weekly safety call, so I might try and record that in just a bit. In the meantime, I've picked up a passenger on board who's trying to hide away from what the remnants of tropical anticyclone Daniela. Well, everything's okay on board, except I have to announce that I have a stowaway, so I may be disqualified. If the weather had been kind, we'd already be off Lanzarote for the first film drop, but it's been anything but kind. We've had contrary winds and strong winds at that, solidly now since the start. But yesterday it turned, we got through the centre of the low and we're able to head downwind direct for the Canaries, or at least as close as we can tell at this stage, direct to the Canaries. Is coming in towards Lanzarote for the first film drop of GGR 2022.
Northwest 1 or 2 meters swell. Tenerife, Gomera coastal waters. Tenerife. At the west coast, around to the ELA gate, northeast 4 or 5 flight. At northeast coast, around... Right, Clara, standing by on 69.
Yeah, GGR control 69. Very good. Hello! Okay. Good to see you. Yeah, he's flying along here at the moment. Looking very relaxed. Right behind you there. He's going to be doing some bits here.
On va essayer de l'approcher. Ce que je disais tout à l'heure, c'est que donc après une semaine difficile au tout début.
So how you feeling?
Good,
Yeah.
good. Had a few days of nice weather, some sunshine, time to dry things out, get a bit sorted on the boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, all good. And I had some good company with Tapio for the last couple of days, which was really nice.
You know you're winning. You know you're the first boat.
So it's rumoured, yeah, Tapio was in touch with somebody, which is fantastic, yeah.
You look a bit tired. Is that because you are steering all the time because you wanted to be here before Tapio?
You're keeping me awake. It's past my bedtime. Normally I'd be asleep by now. No, the last couple of days have been fairly full on. Well, the two nights ago there was the wind was picking up, and there's a big sea out there. In places, very big, confused sea, and hydrovane self-steering isn't able to hold it all the time. So I put a spinnaker up a couple of nights ago to try and gain a little bit of extra advantage. Yeah, so the hydrovane wasn't coping with it, but so that was a tiring night with no sleep at all. But last night I got some sleep, and I think it was actually the reverse. Tapio was with the spinnaker up, and I sent him a message saying it's getting a bit windy. You might want to think of taking it down, but I'm not sure. I haven't spoken to him since. He was on the radio just now, but I couldn't hear it. So I'll talk to him later. Well, I think no, I wasn't into the race in Les Sables because Les Sables was Les Sables. It was a great time. A great celebration, but we couldn't get into the race until we left and got going. And certainly that first week in Biscay was enough to get us going in the race and realise it was serious. But I think heading down towards the Cape Verdes, it looks promising for the moment. So the next stretch and up until the doldrums, that should be some of the nice sailing. I'm looking forward to some flat sailing and finishing a few jobs and getting things sorted before we get down south. Just this last bit I was sailing with the two big genoas, my light genoa and my heavy genoa. We're both poled out and going like a train. And that was much easier through the waves.
Yeah. And
So that could be quite useful in the Southern Ocean, I think.
So is there anything that you would have changed on the boat now? Like you're happy with the preparation?
I'd have plugged a few more leaks that I thought I'd plugged, and I haven't, so I've got that to do. Those are the jobs I'm referring to.
Yeah, so you're not missing anything then?
No, so far, no, I'm not missing anything except for friends and family and relation. No, I haven't found anything I've left behind yet.
Okay.
Other than that, yeah, everything's good. Happy with the boat. Boat's looking after me.
Yeah.
I'm looking after the boat mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a very complicated routine. It's just eat, sleep, sail, repeat.
Okay, we're out of here.
Just left. It's now 7 o'clock, so the start line was 3 hours ago, and it was an absolutely amazing feeling to see so many people out there cheering us on, and it was a pretty emotional moment. I feel really, really blessed by life, by all the friendships, by all the support. And so I don't feel alone out here. I know there are lots of people watching as I speak here on this camera now. Yeah, may it be a good trip. Good sailing. Trying to get the 30 minutes of footage before the Lanzarote Gate. There's nothing excessively interesting happening. Nice weather. Got the Jenica up. Doing pretty decent speeds, I think. That's all I can say for now. Cheers. Weatherfax is busy printing. But presumably there's going to be nothing of extreme interest. And I'm busy getting the spinnaker ready. Had to jibe, so now I've got to get the wool back on it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, here we go. Up onto the bowsprit. It's quite a nice perspective of the boat from up here. Yeah, it's quite a pretty evening. That's the memory card.
Yeah.
And that's the letters with the euros.
Perfect. So anyway, you've been doing really well. So keep the pressure on. And everyone had a nightmare time coming out of Biscay.
Ordinarily it would have been great, except that I wanted to make time. So. But otherwise, it was fun sailing. It was just really frustrating getting stuck in those holes and sitting around and knowing that the fleet's taking a lead on me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So, and the boat's, nothing's really a drama, eh?
No, nothing's a
Touch
drama
wood.
for the boat.
Yeah.
The boat would probably do fine without me.
Yeah.
If the boat doesn't win, it's not the boat's fault, put it that way.
Get that far, you know, you have to be a special sort of person to want to do it. Yeah, it's a brutal race. It's really hard. It's psychologically demanding.
Good morning, girl.
Bonjour, how are you?
Oh, I can see your French is improving. You are still in France, in
Yes.
Les Sables d'Olonne,
Yes.
exactly 1 month after the start of the GGR. So I came to see you because I was following the tracker this morning, and you seemed in a very good mood, and I thought, oh, this is the day to speak about the GGR.
I'm always in a good mood, but it's Les Sables d'Olonne is our home, so I'm in a good mood still, and the office is great, and the GGR is going pretty well at the moment. There's lots happening.
You are very good on doing the tracker. Because we know you organize the race, you are super busy, you have the 580, you have the OGR, you have the GGR, and every morning at 9 o'clock you find the time to do the tracker. The first question is the question of a follower. You really feel a connection with us, with the people following you? Because it's the feeling we have in the morning when you arrive with your tracker.
Yeah, that's true, and I have, it's like as if people are there, and I'm talking to everyone that's watching, and it's an intimate feeling in a strange way, and that's one of the reasons that I'm still holding on to the idea of filming the computer. Everyone's telling me I should be using the latest software and just show the screen and things, but when I film the computer, I think people realise that I'm sitting there looking at the computer rather than a machine. It's just a human thing, and I enjoy it because people like to get my opinion on the weather interpretation and imagining what's going on board. I can imagine what they're doing. I've sailed that course and so on. So yeah, it's fun, and I enjoy it.
For the one who follow my YouTube channel but didn't follow yet your tracker, where are your skippers now, 1 month after the race?
Well, the majority are over the area of the doldrums. There's this area of confused squalls and confusing winds, light winds and so on. But then they get into what is effectively the southeast trade winds, and it'll be a blast for about 10 days, just going down south. So half the fleet is across, and the tail enders have still got a few challenges ahead. But yeah, now it'll be just pretty much a boat race, which is interesting.
It is now, since the start of the race, you have the two in front of the race, Tapio and Simon, and now and after the second part of the fleet, and at the end Arno Guest, a few others, and now you can feel, for us at least, two kind of challenges. First of all, the leaders are catching up by Kirsten or Pat Lawless super quickly now. And on the second hand, Damien Guillou is pushing hard.
Look, it's a fascinating interplay at the moment because you're starting to see the relevant or relative performance of the boats, okay, as well as the determination of the skippers, and they're all making their own interpretation of the weather. When you look at modern races, they have computer programs that will tell them where to go and what to do. Here, it's just the entrant thinking. So there's a lot of fascinating things going on right now. And I have to tell you, because we talk to the entrants once a week, but sometimes they ring us on other calls just to have a chat. There's still quite a few entrants are still challenged by the loneliness, and by the tough conditions and things like that. So there is a lot going on. You can read between the lines on some of it on their tweets as well.
And for you, Don, as an organizer, is the second edition of the Golden Globe. The race seems today a lot bigger in somehow than the first time, even if you have now still 15-14 entrants. You lost 2 entrants before Lanzarote. It's 3. But the race seems bigger. How do the person you are handle with that, and with all the responsibility of, because somehow when someone calls you and you feel he have challenges, maybe he's down, maybe he's lonely, maybe he's scared, how you deal with all that?
I'm very connected to all the entrants, and some of them are very challenged, right now. To the first part of your question, how do I feel it's a lot bigger? Yes, there's more followers that are there, and there's new followers coming in. I'm surprised at the amount of non-sailors. There's a lot more non-sailors and so on. So, but to me, it'll never be the same as the first one. That was groundbreaking, everything we did. The second one is a bit more of the same, but it's a completely different entrance, different challenges, and so on. So it's still exciting and interesting and different. So it's a very rich, colourful story, and you can follow it in any number of ways. I don't mean Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook and things. I mean, you can follow just the boat race. You can follow the human dynamic. There's a lot of different things going on. It's quite an adventure.
You choose this year for that second edition to have more drop points than in the first one. The next one will be in a few weeks in Cape Town. Do you think is that an easy thing for the entrants too? Do you have news about that?
No, the entrance, in fact,
You,
it's
you choose, I presume you choose the drop point to let us have news from them more often, right? Or why?
yeah,
It was only 2 drop points in the first one.
that's right. There are 2 reasons why we have the drop points. The first one is it recreates the original race in 1968. Bernard Matessia went through the Canary Islands looking to contact. He went to Trinidad looking to contact. He went to Cape Town twice because he wanted to get messages across and with his slingshot to ships. The same in Hobart. He waited around in Tasmania for a fishing boat to come past to take letters to the yacht club. So it actually happened. Robert Knox Johnson went and anchored in Dunedin in New Zealand and waited for a friend to come with all the letters, and he opened the letters and read them because he couldn't give him the letters, So we create all of that within this edition of the GGR, and it's a good opportunity to get their films and so on. And so when in Hobart, when they anchor there...
And in your race is the same, for the people who don't know yet. You cannot touch them, you cannot give them an orange or an apple.
No, that's exactly right. We can take their letters and films off the boat. We can't give them anything, but you'll see when they come to Hobart, the same as Robin did when a friend sat there, opened the letters and read the letters from friends, we'll hold an iPad there, and let them talk to their wives. It's just another take on communications. So it's a mix between 1968 and now.
Do you feel sometimes when you watch them doing the race, following the dream, going to Cap Horn, because you did the BOC, you finished second in your category, you crossed the Atlantic last year, and sometimes I'm wondering, does the sailor inside of you still have some dreaming about sailing, or you are too busy to think about it?
There's 3 parts to that answer. First of all, I really enjoy with our team running the GGR. It's quite an adventure in its own right. So that's fully absorbing and it's fantastic. But yes, I'm a doer rather than a talker. Right now, I feel like I'm a talker and not a doer. I'd much rather be on the boat and go. Yes, I sailed solo across the Atlantic in a 19-foot, little mini last year, and I really loved it. And yes, in some ways, I would really like to do the GGR again, but it just doesn't fit in life at the moment. But, watch this space. There's other things I could do later on, maybe. We'll see. But certainly if Jean-Luc does the next GGR, I'm going to do it.
So we need to ask to him.
Yes.
And what, for the people who are following your race today, if I was a sailor, which I'm not, and I will see all this beautiful retro, our world is going so fast, so far. We are a bit losing all the, not the dreams, but who we are, we don't know because we go so far. And sometimes when we watch your race, we can imagine, if I was a sailor, wow, it's so nice, and having the time for me, and achieve something. Would you allow someone like me, not a sailor, to come to do your next race?
If you ticked all the boxes, and there's a lot of boxes to tick, I would let you come to the race. But unless you're a special...
What is the boxes a sailor need to tick, in your opinion, before he is accepted?
Well, to qualify for the race, they need to have a minimum amount of experience, at least 8,000 ocean miles, as well as 2,000 solo miles, and another 2,000 solo non-stop miles in the boat that they plan to do the race in. Most have a much more than that, okay? But to get that far, you have to be a special sort of person to want to do it. You've got to do your medical training and survival training, things like that. But it's a brutal race. It's really hard. It's psychologically demanding. You cannot even get to the start line unless you're absolutely passionate about it. Otherwise, there's always a reason not to do it. So there's a self-filtering system. We only get to see the craziest of the crazy, or the strongest of the strongest, or the most passionate people that get there. So, but yeah, we want to keep the dream alive for anyone that wants to really do it. And it's a special event. It's really incredibly hard, and it'll never change. It will keep the core principles forever, and that's what the GGR is. There's nothing else like it in the world.
So next time we see you in Cape Town,
yes.
When do you think they will be in Cape Town to the drop point?
Well, we've booked flights to go down on the 30th of October, and I think we'll be there before the 1st. And the fleet will stretch out a bit more. They're about split by about 600 miles at the moment, which is about 6 days sailing. I think by the time they get to Cape Town, the fleet will probably be stretched out 2 or 3 weeks. You know.
According by the weather, it's too early, of course, but I'm so impatient and I'm a girl, so I need to ask you that question. According by the weather today, do you think it's any chance Kirsten arrive first in Cape Town?
Yes. Kirsten is sailing really well. Like the GGR consists of 3 important things. Preparation, okay, so the preparation's got to be impeccable. The sailor has to be really good, know what they're doing, you know, be strong, determined, and all those sorts of things. And then you have to have the right boat. Kirsten's got a hot boat. She's prepared really well, and she's a really determined, highly experienced sailor. So she's got all 3 elements there. Fingers crossed.
Oh, and another question about another entrant. We took 2 different. Oh, phone call. I think we need to stop because the
Yes,
GGR is.
I got a
it's
GGR
calling.
satellite phone call.
Okay. Goodbye. Thank you, Don.
Hello, Guy.
Negotiating the clouds in the sky. I'm trying to get a weather fast enough, but it doesn't seem right.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just looking at the sky and guessing at the moment.
Yeah, so you're speaking to other entrants?
So I'll play again.
Are you speaking to other entrants as well? Are you speaking to other entrants? We may have lost you. Yep, lost him. That was Guy, but the satellite signal just dropped.
So 1 month after the start, your life is like this. You start with the tracker as we saw you. After you do some emails.
Yes.
And you tell to the followers that will wait for you. Oh,
Here he comes. He's back again. Hello, Guy. Yes. So, are you speaking to other entrants?
Well, I mean, obviously, when I was with Urton, he was on the VHF, like, you know, a dozen times a day. I think he was a bit lonely, to be honest with you. But I'm not aware of the proximity of any other entrants, certainly on VHF. I put the HF on, and quite often now I can't even hear anything on the HF. And then. But when it's mandatory time, I always say something at least, you know. So, but I haven't heard from Avilash for a while now. I haven't heard from Jeremy. I've heard mention of Damien a couple of times. I think Damien's gone through me now as well. So I don't. I haven't had any communication really on HF, or I haven't seen a ship now for days and days and days. So.
Yeah. And what about your power? You're making plenty of electricity, energy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got 13.1 volts now, and the sun's only been up an hour. You know, it's with the wind turbine going all night long and the solar panels all day, I've got no shortage of power.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's fluids or something, but anyway. Yep, okay. So all is good then. Nothing else you need to say? Nothing else to report?
Well, unfortunately, no. No real good news. I mean, the boat's fine because I can point a little bit higher with those as well, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of a lump in the sea, but nothing too much. You can see the horizon pretty much all the way around the boat.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, sounds pretty good. So I know you'll be over it. You'll be into the trades by next week. So good luck with that. And we'll speak again soon. Yeah, we'll speak to you again next week, eh?
Okay, mate. Yeah. Thanks for the call.
Yep. All good. See you later. Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Last 2 questions because you are so busy. But you can see that you are very busy. The first one, I saw you in Lanzarote. It was the same. People calling, entrance calling, Guy Debord calling because his boat was on the rocks. Kirsten calling to 4 o'clock to tell you she had Guy on the thing. And after you deal with administration, and after you go back to deal with lots of different things. What do you do for you to relax?
What do I do for me? Oh, I wonder what boat to buy next. But no.
Really, is that when you, at the end of the day, when you need the time for your mind to relax, what are you doing?
No, it's funny. I mean, this is your life. You're absorbed in it. So it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and I enjoy it. So does Jane. She might not admit it, but it's what we do. But you still stop and veg out doing something. But what do I do for relaxation? It's hard to say. I mean, not relaxation, but you're always wondering what's going on in the Ukraine and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, my fun is to dream about other projects. I'm thinking about buying another boat, and so, and you're quite right. We do have the OGR and the mini globe race as well. So. We've got things to do there, and that's a diversion, for now. It's not the main focus, of course. The GGR is the focus, but we've got other fantastic projects, and we're dealing with a lot of people. It's fantastic. We have amazing conversation with new entrants for 2026. That's like we're about to open entries there. And there's a lot of people interested now. So I think COVID knocked us around a bit. Everything's been holding back, and I think the next edition of the GGR is going to be big.
Last question, because your director of race is already looking at the door for the meeting. When you listen to you speaking about what it's your relaxation, dreams and things, when you watch your picture when you're a lot younger,
oh yeah,
with your long surfer hair, blonde hair, somehow you make me think about Elliot Smith.
Yeah.
Is this young guy crazy, so full of passion about life, and not a big sailor, but still in the race? Is it something in him who is a part of you? I mean, or of you who is a...
Yeah, I can relate to him. I think he's fantastic. He's a breath of fresh air within the GGR because he's so loose and free, and I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just there. And it started with an idea, a dream. He had no money, and then all of a sudden people started to believe in him, and he's still there, and he's still moving forward without really knowing what he's doing. He just knows he needs to be there. So there's something very special about that. And then yeah, I can, when we're talking to him in Lanzarote, I can see myself when I was there when I was 28. I'd been out cruising for 3 years, and you're in the moment, but you're thinking about the future. He's got his whole life in front of him, which is fantastic. So it's very exciting. I like watching him. Yeah, he's cool.
And you allow him to follow his dreams thanks to your race. Thank you, Don McIntyre.
Yes.